I listen up, man, because I'm about to keep it 100 with y'all like I'm goddamn Benjamin Franklin up in this bitch. Do not let this degenerated world deter you from discovering your dharma. Yes, sir. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Listen up. Are you listening, my guy? Do not let this dark and degenerated world deter you from discovering your dharma. And you might be wondering, okay, man, what the fuck does that even mean? What the hell is dharma? How does this degenerated world deter me from that? Am I okay? Am I gonna be all right? Well, relax. Relax. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, my guy. Because it's time for your boy to break this bitch down real quick, like a brick for y'all. Now, the first thing you need to understand and understand is dharma is your divine purpose. Is the reason why you are here, is the reason why you have incarnated in this specific body with this specific psyche. It is your natural state. It is what and who you were always meant to be, what you were always meant to do on this plane of existence. It is your natural divine state, not just your default state. It is your divine state. It is your divine duty, your divine purpose. Now, as we go through life, all of us have goals. All of us have goals about the material. All of us have goals about the physical. All of us have goals about mental, maybe. But all of that must be subordinate and must supplement the spiritual goal of discovering your dharma. That is the ultimate goal. That is the ultimate path. That is your one-way ticket to liberation. This is how you as a human being transcend to the next realm or the next stage of your soul's evolution. It is through the dharma that you were brought here to actually bring up into this world. That is the only way that you will transcend. And I know I'm not the guy to tell you, okay, man, there is only one path to liberation. But dharma is universal. Your dharmic path is different than mine, is different than your dad's, is different than your mom's, is different than your friends. But that dharmic path is ingrained into your DNA. It is the way to elevate to your peak potential during this human experience. It isn't a goal that you made up. It is a goal assigned to you by God. But it also is a goal that uses all of the God-given gifts that you have been given to by the Supreme Source to not only help fulfill your life, but also to help transcend and elevate the collective consciousness of humanity as a whole. Your dharmic path doesn't just feel good for you, but it also helps fuel other people's lives in some way, shape, or form. So if you understand that now, you must realize that this degenerated world that we are living in, aka Kali Yuga, as the Vedics call, the time where carnality is at its peak, it's at its all-time high. Bitcoin's at its all-time high. This is carnality at its all-time high. And spirituality is at its all-time low. Doesn't mean that this is an evil time, that this is a bad time, that you must just, I'm gonna give up. I'm not gonna try to actually become my best version because it's Kali Yuga now. Nope. This gives you an actual very, very, very important time to transcend. It's only in the depths of darkness where you finally be like, damn, man, I need some motherfucking light up in here. And that light is only found and only uncovered, turned on through the dharmic path. You see, this world, this Maya, this matrix, this illusion wants to deter you from your dharma. Why is that? Ask yourself, why is that right now? Because I'm about to break this bitch down, but I want you to ask yourself. Comment down below, pause this right now. Comment down below why you think this degenerated world wants to deter you from your divine purpose. Drop a comment. But let's break it down. It wants to deter you from that because it knows a man or a woman who unlocks their dharma, who discovers their dharma by first dissolving their karmas, is not easy to manipulate and mold into a mere cog of the machine, because now they are not following the goals assigned by the agendas of society anymore. They are following the goals given to them by God. They are no longer slaves to the senses, where all their goals are surrounded to satisfy the senses, aka the lower three chakras. There's just only focus about survival, sex, and status. They have transcended beyond that. When society can keep you trapped in those lower states of consciousness, those three lower chakras, and those three lower worlds where all you think about is survival, sex, and status, they profit off that. And they profit off that not just monetarily wise, not just economically, but they also profit over that by getting control over your psyche, by getting control over your physical vessel. Because they can dangle out survival, sex, and status and make you chase for it. Chase and chase and chase and chase and chase. But guess what? These types of things, these types of goals, these types of pursuits are a bottomless pit, are a black hole. It doesn't matter how much survival that you can enjoy, aka how much food that you can have, aka how much sex that you can have. It doesn't matter how much status you can achieve. You're always going to want more and more and more and more. So the more you want it, the more your consciousness is stuck at that state. And the more your consciousness is stuck at that state, the less you can actually ascend and transcend to your true potential. You see, you only will tap into your true potential by discovering your dharma. That is your true potential. What you were really brought here to do requires you to be the person you were always meant to be, mentally, physically, and spiritually. But when they deter you from that, you always have this knowing in the back of your mind, maybe in the depths of your soul, that this isn't all there is to life. For you guys out there that are watching this, you might be already like thinking like, yeah, man, I've experienced things maybe through psychedelics, maybe through meditation, maybe through near-death experiences, to the point where you realize and you finally woke up, a spiritual awakening, to the point where, okay, man, I'm not just this body and these bones. I'm not just a flesh and blood. I'm not just this brain and body. I am something deeper than all of that. But what is that? That is the eternal soul. And the eternal soul is wearing this body like a jacket, like a costume, like an avatar for the time being. But it's here to use this costume for a specific reason. Your dharma. It didn't come here for no fucking reason. It didn't just fucking incarnate into this body just be like, oh man, that was by accident, my bad, I gotta go to this realm of reality actually. Like, I just took a wrong turn, wrong exit, man. No, they don't work. The universe don't make mistakes. God don't make mistakes, motherfucker. There's a specific reason why you were brought here. And for some people, that specific reason can be just to dissolve some karmas in order to help them discover their dharma for the next lifetime or the next lifetime after that. But for you guys, I always say this, that are watching this channel in specific, the second channel, What the Fulati, where we're out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you ain't out here looking like a motherfucking lame. You dig what I'm saying? For you guys who are more psychologically and spiritually advanced, I'm not saying that you're better than anyone. This ain't some new age spirituality bullshit where I'm gonna be spewing out, oh man, you're a chosen one because you're watching my channel. Fuck no. None of us are. But maybe through those past lives where you did dissolve some of the karmas so you can finally peek a little bit into the door of dharma, you cannot waste this incarnation and you cannot let this degenerated world make you fall back into the depths of despair that blocks you and deters you and distracts you from that ultimate goal of discovering your dharma. You cannot. Most people will not be able to watch a video about these types of topics, even for 5 seconds, let alone 35 minutes. You know what I mean? There is a specific reason why you have this body, why you were have this exact psyche, why you were in this exact position that you're in. And the reason is because of a dharmic duty. You would not be listening to this video right now about dharma if it wasn't for that fact. I know the people that are watching this channel, I'm talking to you right now. Look at the person in the mirror. I'm talking to him. You were brought here for a specific dharmic duty, and you are in a specific phase of your conscious evolution to discover it. And discovering it is not easy. We don't look up Google, oh, what's my dharma? There is no fucking dharma doctor out there that can diagnose that for you. The only path to your dharma is the path of self-mastery. Self-mastery leads to what? Self-realization. Realizing what the self is beyond all name and form, beyond all logic and analytical stuff. It is something that can only be experienced. It is a type of knowledge, aka gnosis, that can only be accessed from within. And that gnosis already has your script laid out for you. For the people that are wondering, oh man, do I even have free will? No, you have free will to follow that path of self-mastery in order to realize the self. But once you realize the self, you realize that you always have had a specific fate. It was just your choice to follow that fate that will lead you to liberation, aka your dharmic path, or follow the nonsense of society that is deterring you from that dharma due to free will, and just follow down a path that leads to mediocrity, that leads to misery, that leads to unfulfillment. When you're on your deathbed, all those regrets, all those wishes that you actually transcended to your highest potential is the regrets of not following your dharmic path. I hope to God you ain't on your deathbed and thinking about, man, this fucking douchebag was right. This fucking douchebag, what the Fulati, was right. He was fucking talking about all this shit in the middle of the woods. And he was right about the dharmic path. I am on my deathbed right now, being like, damn, man, I did not accomplish my dharma. So guess what? You're in a state of shame, guilt, regret, apathy. The lowest states of consciousness, aka the lowest vibrations. And once this physical body, the jacket, the avatar, the costume that you're wearing needs to be transferred on over to something else, your consciousness is still stuck in shame, guilt, and all that stuff, so it looks for a way to escape. When you are in a state of shame, guilt, and all that stuff right now in the physical world, what do you usually do? Look for an escape route. It could be through porn. It could be through smoking. It could be through drinking. It could be through whatever it is, social media. So you forget about that. You don't actually face the shame, the guilt, and actually figure out what the root cause of it is. The same thing happens to your consciousness, your psyche, after the physical body perishes. And if you know anything about the cycle of reincarnation, or if you've read anything about the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Bardo Thodol, your psyche will look for an escape route into a brand new body to start this bitch off one more time again. An encore, one more time. I gotta celebrate in samsara. You are stuck in another motherfucking cycle of samsara. You are not taking that one-way ticket to liberate out this and actually merge back to the divine source that you were brought here to merge with. That's what yoga means. Union with the supreme source. It doesn't mean just stretching. It doesn't mean just doing breath work. Yoga is the path to yoking yourself back to God. Samadhi, if you guys know what that is where your consciousness goes back into the same form of the divine. Sam, same. D, divine. Samadhi, tapping into that state of consciousness, either while you're living or while you pass away. But that doesn't happen if you have all these regrets. If you have all these, oh man, I wish I did that, I wish I did this. That's the dharmic path that you did not follow. So guess what? Your soul's got to come back and try again. But also, at the same time, you accumulated more karmic debts. So you're going to be in a lesser situation for the next cycle of reincarnation. You're going to be stuck in a lesser position, further away from your dharma, which is going to take you longer, and your memory gets wiped away, man. Look, if you want to learn more about that type of stuff, go check out some of the videos on the main channel, Fulati Fitness. There's a whole video about escaping samsara, talking about how the cycle of reincarnation works, how dharma is actually the path to break free from this. There's a whole video about the Bardo Thodol, aka the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which talks about this more in depth. And look, man, if you're someone who's watching this stuff on this channel, on the main channel, you have not joined up into the private Patreon community, and you are actually interested in further developing yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually on this path of self-mastery, you are doing yourself. The guy in the mirror, go look in the mirror right now. Don't look at me. Don't look at me, motherfucker. Go look in the mirror right now. That person that's looking back at you, you are doing him a huge motherfucking disfavor. That is fraudulent behavior. If you have not joined up into the private Patreon community and you're someone who's truly serious about attaining these states of spiritual ecstasy, about attaining your highest potential mentally, physically, and spiritually, about actually realizing your truest self. Because within there, man, we're going in depth and in detail to this overall esoteric science of self-mastery. Unpacking exclusive videos where you ain't gonna be able to find this type of stuff on this channel, on the main channel. Matter of fact, anywhere else on the internet, man. This is some real deal game, real deal sauce. That's only for those who are truly serious about transcending to the highest form. Along with that, we got full guides, occult lectures. I'm talking about occult lectures where we're going 2 hours long, uncovering more in depth and more in detail about those main channel videos that I just mentioned, about the cycle of samsara, about the Tibetan Book of the Dead. We're going in depth, man, in motherfucking depth. And along with that, if you tap into the Philosopher's Circle, aka the highest membership tier group within the private Patreon community, you get access to the most important thing, in my opinion, which is our private group chat where we host our bi-weekly mastermind live calls. Yes, sir, 2 live calls each and every single month, bi-weekly. Come on, man, are you picking up what I'm putting down? We hop on a call with me, as well as a community of like-minded men who are also on this same journey towards discovering their dharma by dissolving their karma along this path of self-mastery, which, of course, say it with me, leads to self-realization, leads to liberation. If you want to be surrounded with people that are going to uphold you to that standard, who want to see you transcend the cycle of samsara, who want to see you tap into your spiritual gifts, who want to see you uncover that dharma, I'm telling you, man, the Philosopher's Circle is the place for you, my guy. It is truly the place for you. I assure you that. If you want any more information, check out the links posted in the pinned comment of this video. Because within there, not only will you find the link to our private Patreon community, but also links to our other services, whether that be application forms to my personalized coaching program, if you're trying to work with me personally, one-on-one, to help you detox from this degenerate nonsense, these degenerate shackles, these bonds that keep you attached and stuck in your lower states of consciousness and deter you from that dharma. This coaching program is designed to help you dissolve those karmas in order to help you discover your dharma, whether that be mental blockages, psychological blockages, physical, spiritual, whatever it is. We're gonna burn through that so you can actually become the beacon of light you were always meant to be. Check out the links posted in the pinned comments video to drop an application form. If you want to book a one-on-one consultation call, another link right there for your weekly newsletters, free community Discord server, all that stuff posted in the pinned comment of this video. But like I was saying, for those that are watching this channel, watching the main channel, who are tapped into the private Patreon community, you guys are accelerating your path to finding that dharma. That is literally the ultimate purpose and drive you should be focusing on. Everything else should be supplementing that. Your physical workouts, your physical fitness journey should be there so you can become a purified vessel for when you get that intuitive sense of what that dharma is, for it to flow through you. You have the ability to not only discover the dharma, because that's just step one, but actually go out there and manifest it and make it happen. This is that inner vision. Like I've said before on a video on this channel, all men are built to be alchemists. I'm not saying you're doing chemistry. I'm talking about alchemistry, where you take that inner vision gifted to you by God, by the divine source, that not only fulfills your soul, not only nourishes your inner child, but also will help uplift humanity in some way, shape, or form. It could be music, it could be art, it could be business, it could be motherfucking creating content on YouTube. Who knows what it is? I don't know what it is. Nobody knows what it is. You know what it is, and you need the tools, the tips, the techniques to help you slice through all the nonsense. Like we were playing Fruit Ninja to get to the core, peeling back the layers of the onion so you get to the core, because that's where all the answers reside. And this degenerated world wants to deter you from that. It's going to use pornography. It's going to use casual sex, hookup culture. It's going to use fast food. It's going to use social media. It's going to use alcohol, drugs, all these distractions, so you never find that out. Because once you find that out, you become a sovereign entity. You become guided by God rather than guided by these agendas of society. Rather than being a slave to your senses, you are now a sovereign soul using the physical vessel and your psychological mind to your advantage rather than them using you. There's a great quote from Osho. I always bring this up. The mind can either be a beautiful servant or a horrible master. And this can relate to all aspects of the self. The body can either be a beautiful servant or a horrible master. Your psyche can either be a beautiful servant or a horrible master. The matrix, the Maya, the illusion, this degenerated world is designed in ways for the brain and the body of man to work against his own spiritual will. It is like your body and your car basically. Whenever you hit gas, it's doing a brake. Whenever you turn left, it's going fucking right. It's going against what you want it to do. So you go against where your soul actually wants to go. Your end destination in life is not just to satisfy the senses and be on your deathbed, be like, man, that was cool. I got all these cars, all these clothes, all these hoes, and it was great. Nah, man, it's the end destination is designated to your dharma. That is how you leave this world, leave this physical body without being like, man, I should have done this, I should have done that. No more FOMO. No more FOMO. You transcend to the next layers of evolution. You liberate yourself from the attachments of this material world. That is your one-way ticket. Imagine you buy a one-way ticket on a flight, on a train, that brings you to where you really want to go in life. You don't take another U-turn. You don't take a returning trip. The returning trip is the cycle of samsara, which runs off of what? Carnality and consumerism. There's already a video talking about this on this channel. If you have not watched that yet, make sure you go run it up. How carnality and consumerism keeps you stuck in your lower states of consciousness. And this is what society, the matrix, the Maya, the illusion promotes to deter you from that dharma. And they what? Program you with their own conditioning, with their own default state. Oh man, you should do this. Oh man, you should do that. This is what real success is. No one can tell you what your version of success is other than your spirit and your soul. That will guide you back to godhood. That's what humans are brought here to do. If all you were meant to do in this incarnation was to just survive, have sex, and achieve status, you would came back as an animal. That's what the animalistic mind is about. When you look at a dog, when you look at a cat, when you look at whatever tiger, lion, that's what they're focused on, survival, sex, and status. Humankind is in between the animal kingdom and the angelic kingdom, the spiritual realms of reality and the material world. You have the free will to either follow your instincts, which is manipulated by the matrix, by the Maya, and by the illusion to keep you at your lower states of consciousness, or you have the free will to follow the righteous path, the dharmic path, by listening to that God-given intuition, not the 5 physical senses, but the 6th sense, the 6th spiritual sense, which is correlated to the 6th chakra. the pineal gland, aka where that gnosis gets directed to you. You don't look out with your two physical eyes. You look with your one spiritual eye that will lead you to that one-way track, one-way ticket to liberation. And yes, this is allegorical, this is symbolical, and this is metaphorical, but also at the same time, it is literal. There's deeper stuff about what does that mean. As a matter of fact, if you want to learn more about that, look, private Patreon, got you covered, my guy. Got you covered. I'm telling you, all these topics, all these subjects that we're talking about, just like right now, we got a full video, damn near an hour long, about dissolving your karmas and discovering your dharma. So if you are truly serious about that and looking to expand, this is the place for you. This is the place for you. But as we continue on your own spiritual journey, your own individual journey of self-mastery, you need to realize what it's all pertaining to, where it's all leading to. Are we just like these self-improvement guys, just self-improving for the fucking sake of self-improvement? Fuck no, man. Who gives a shit about that? You must have a bigger why and a bigger reason of why you're practicing retention or celibacy like we talk about. Why you're meditating, why you're doing all these things where the general population, the masses, the matrix, be like, bro, this guy's psychotic. This guy doesn't like himself. He is saying no to these pleasures. You were saying no to the lower level pleasures to taste what? Divine nectar. Divine nectar is a byproduct of what? The dharmic motherfucking path, my guy. Come on now. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you listening? Are you seeing what I'm saying, my guy? Come on now, wake up. Stay with me. That divine nectar, that state of spiritual ecstasy is only accessed by following your dharmic path. Even when things are going up and down and left and right, even on this dharmic path. Nothing's going to be, oh man, now you found your dharma, life is perfect. No, you're going to be fully in the present moment. Like you were as a kid. Your curiosity as an inner child is a clear sign of what that dharma is. There's already another video on this channel talking about how your inner child already knows your purpose. Your inner child was already dharmically aligned. Because guess what? The inner child, your innocent state, has not been convoluted and just distorted by the degenerate world just yet. It's in a pure state. When you reach back to that purification point through all these practices that we talk about here on this channel, on the main channel, the private Patreon community, with the people I'm working with one-on-one, it's an inner alchemical purification process. Because that diamond of dharma is already there. You take an ore while you go mining. There's a diamond stuck in all that dirt, all that fucking nonsense. You must put it through a furnace, a flame that burns away all the impurities to get to that dharmic diamond. And the same thing happens to you as a human on the mental, physical, and spiritual planes. You already have all the answers. It's stuck within all of this degenerated dirt that's picked up by going throughout this life in a disconnected state, in an unconscious zombie state. That's why they want you to remain drained, depleted of your prana. Because at that point, you're just a drone. You're just a zombie that has no true dictation or decision making in their own life. You just follow the crowd. You just follow the masses. You just follow society because you are not connected to your own inner voice that is a Wi-Fi code, a Wi-Fi connection, a phone call connection to God, to the divine. I always say this, you have two voices in your head always speaking, even though you might only hear one. One of them is the instincts, the animal, that is leading you to your lower states of consciousness. The more you feed into that, the more the volume gets higher. But also, inversely, the other voice, which is your intuition, generated from your sixth sense, which leads you to liberation, which brings you back on the path and guides you to godhood. When you listen more to the instinct, and this raises up, inversely, the higher self, the intuition, the volume of that lowers. But also, when you're on this path of self-mastery, the same thing happens opposite, vice versa. The higher self, your higher calling, your higher faculties start to awaken and lead you to liberation. Rather than the senses dictating all the shots, which is what society, the matrix, the mind, the illusion wants from you. So you deter yourself from your dharma, and you're just always on this non-stop cycle. I'm chasing cars, clothes, money, hoes, this, that. If you're on that cycle, you're on that hamster wheel of desires, you'll never stop until it's time for your heart to stop. God damn, that's a bar right there. That's a bar right there. Let that really marinate in your mind. This cycle of desires will never stop until your fucking heart does. But dharma feeds the heart, not of just you, but also the hearts of the human collective consciousness. The collective consciousness of humanity as a whole. That's why they want to deter you from that. They don't want a dharmic society. They want an a-dharmic society. Adharma is unrighteous path. Dharma is the righteous path. Each one of you guys have your own specific dharmic path. I will never know what it is. Nobody will ever know what it is but you. The stuff we're talking about here on this channel, on the main channel, the private Patreon community, with the people I'm working with one-on-one, are just tools to help slice through all the nonsense, through all the chains, through all the shackles that are holding you back from actually transcending to finding out what that dharma is. If you're hiking up a mountain, hiking up a hill, and you got a backpack full of rocks for no fucking reason, you got to let go of that. You got this weight vest on, you got to snip that off. You got these ankle weights on, you got to snip that off in order for you to actually keep trekking up the mountain. And that mountaintop is where you'll find that dharma. And that mountain in itself is the path of self-mastery. Self-realization is at the top. Self-realization, dharma. Do you see what I'm saying? They don't want you to know it because they keep you in your degenerated state. You'll always remain a slave. And this is not the slavery where they put chains on you physically and this and that. This is psychological chains, and this is spiritual bonds. Instead of financial debt that you're in, you got karmic debt that you got to pay off. You can never truly start living until you start paying off that karmic debt. But dharma, what that does is dissolve all that shit, burns it away. Burns it away and brings you to your true path that will lead to true fulfillment. That no amount of cars, clothes, hoes, muscles, this, that, whatever on the material plane, no amount of that will ever equate to that state of spiritual ecstasy and that taste of divine nectar that you'll get on your own individual dharmic path. Once you taste it, there's no going back. Once you taste it, you can get a small little sliver. You ain't going back. Imagine you just been eating at just some random fast food joint your entire life. You get to a 5-star restaurant, you taste a little sliver of that food. You're like, man, fuck all that lower level pleasure shit. I want this high level pursuit. You taste a little bit of divine nectar. You ain't going back. And the source of that divine nectar, the waterfall it flows from, is your dharma. So let that really marinate in your motherfucking mind, my guy. Really let that marinate in your mind. Don't let this degenerated world deter you from that. All these practices that we're talking about are tools to help you find out what that is. It's already in your DNA. You're not going to find this on a YouTube video. You're not going to find this in a book. You're not going to find this anywhere. It's not external knowledge. It is gnosis. And gnosis is only accessed through what? Self-mastery. Because that leads to what? Self-realization. You dig what I'm saying? But there it is, man. Do not let this degenerated world deter you, distract you, tempt you away by giving you these lower level pleasures. But you know you'll never be fulfilled. Always fed, never satisfied. Never fed, always satisfied. If you always feed into your lower level nature, it will never be satisfied. But when you don't feed it it will actually satisfy your soul. There's a great quote from Paramahansa Yogananda, if you know who that is, the person who wrote the autobiography of a yogi, one of my favorite books of all time, a spiritual classic. But at the end of the day, what that is pointing to you is that this hamster wheel of desires will never stop churning. The only way it does stop churning is when you decide to stop and get off. Instead of running on the treadmill that leads you nowhere, you're in the same spot, you decide to walk off that treadmill and walk on the righteous path that will lead you to that mountaintop that you're actually looking for. You imagine you're on a treadmill and you're looking at a mountain like, man, I can't wait till I get there. I can't wait till I get there. And you keep running in that same circle, same spot. You're like, oh shit, I have to get off of this to be able to actually run towards that mountain. Don't be distracted. Don't be fooled. Don't be deterred by the degenerated world. You have this specific incarnation and you have been blessed with specific gifts that you are brought here to give back to the world. Do not forget that. Do not lose connection to that divine spark within you. Because the whole world already wants that to happen. And it's working each and every single day to make that happen. But what God wants, what your higher self wants, what the inner spark of divinity wants from you is to awaken to that highest potential. And it's going to require sacrifices, and it's going to require a strenuous trek up that mountain. But as you go up that mountain and you look back, you're like, man, I will never turn back. I will never make a U-turn. Because even though this is difficult, it has given me a sense of divine nectar that I will never find anywhere else. This is priceless. No amount of material possessions could ever equate to that. No amount of earthly attachments and achievements could ever equate to this state of abundance. So let that really marinate in your motherfucking mind, my guy. Because it's been your boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping out that game so you guys can make these gains. I'm out of here. Peace.